Hey everybody, it's Tina. So, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here and viewing this video. I would like to introduce you all to someone you probably already know because he is a fantastic astrologer and fellow tarot reader here on YouTube. This is Sonny from the Sonny side. Sonny and we go way back, actually, like a few months, I guess. I've been subscribed to his channel since I don't know, years. But he reached out to me a few months ago and offered to have me on his channel and read my chart, which I had never had done, and I was literally mind blown. It was amazing. So I brought Sonny on today just to kind of have a casual conversation about astrology and astrological events and maybe introduce you guys to him. We would love it if you would check out his channel. I'll have all the links for everything down below. But I'm going to let Sonny go ahead and take it away.
Oh, hey guys, what's up? I hope everyone is having a super amazing day. It's wonderful to be here. I'm very happy to be here actually today speaking with Tina. And always puts a smile on my face. And as we always say, it's always a beautiful day to be beautiful, but it's together that makes it a beautiful day.
I agree.
Glad to be here.
Yep. So Sonny, what's going on astrologically right now? So we just had this, full moon in Cancer, eclipse. We're in Capricorn right now. And I can tell you just on my end, it has been really hectic, just chaotic. And it's the energy, myself personally, like I'm not going through anything crazy personally, but I know that a lot of my clients and subscribers, are just having a lot of big changes in their lives, especially due to this eclipse. What's your take on all of this? Like anything, I don't know, any advice that you can give us, or just what is actually happening would be awesome.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just pulling up your chart to double check what's going on. But I'm an astrologer. I need to look at the chart.
Yes, so, that's fine.
I'll tell you what's going on. It's not that it's not. It's a mixed bag of what's happening, right? Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, right. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Yeah, you're going through a situation right now. So
yes.
So so let's back it up a bit. There's some difficult stuff that's happening astrologically right now, and so you know my background, and you know what I'm like when I talk about this stuff. Like I have a bit of an irritable personality syndrome at the best of times,
yeah.
but the deal is it's the I believe that regardless of what's happening in the world around us, we still have to do what we have to do. There are basic things you have to do every day, depending on who you are. And so you can't let the celestial tides sway you too much from your goals in life. Or sway, no, that's not it. It's not about, let's not say things about goals. Let's not be achievement freaks in this conversation today, right? It's very easy to say, oh, your goals are, let's not say that. Let's just say who you are. So some person could be a workaholic, some people you could be a flake, for better or worse, whatever.
Yeah.
You are what you are. And it's important to not let the celestial tides sway you from who you are.
Yeah.
And so someone said to me when I was living in Vancouver, there was when I first arrived there and it was raining all the time, I was like, what the hell? And so I'm like, what's going on? They're like, hey, Sonny, you going to go jogging today? And I'm like, I don't know, man, it's raining. And they're like, well, Sonny, it's going to rain for the next, 7 months. So, like, what are you going to do? So, like, you can't let the weather just, dictate what you're going to do during the day. You can't let the weather dictate your life. You can't let the celestial currents dictate. You can't let the energy change who you are. Now, I know that's not what you asked me. You asked me what's going on. And I'm saying, in spite of what's going on, you have to be true to yourself and have to be who to yourself. And I want to ask you a question in a couple of minutes after I say this. And I'm going to just write it down Um, okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, but as far as the celestial currents are concerning, some of the signs are in a really difficult situation, like extremely difficult situation. Now, because of the transits of the planets, because of the way the planets transit our natal planets, everybody goes through the situation that some of these signs are going through. And so, for example, the most difficult signs right now are the cardinal signs. So, like Libra is getting it really tough. Aries, Capricorn, extremely difficult, and Cancer is having it rough right now as well. They've had it rough for the last 2 years, and they're going to continue to have it rough throughout 2020. And it's not a joke; it's really tough for these guys. It also affects you if you have your rising sign in the cardinal sign. So, if your rising sign is Libra, Capricorn, Aries, or Cancer, it's going to be really rough for you. And your rising sign is Libra. And so here's the deal. It's not just, but normally as the Saturn, it's a Saturn thing which is doing this, and Pluto, as it travels through, it's causing a lot of tension for these guys, but it causes tension for everybody at different times. So before this started around 2017, 2018. Before that, in 2015, 2016, it wasn't the cardinal signs; it was the mutable signs that had it really rough. So like Sagittarius had it rough, Virgo had it rough, Gemini had it rough. Like those guys had it really bad. You're a Gemini, so you would have had it. You have an extended difficult patch. Now the reason it's extra difficult right now is it's not just a Saturn thing. Pluto is adding its weight. It's adding its weight to the argument here. And so you're getting it's extra tough. And 2020 is actually going to be like really tough. We're going through it right now. Now, so that's what it is. You guys have heard this, but I want to get back to the thing and say, just because we're going through it's not. So, just want to let you guys know something here. Even though we're having a situation where there's a tremendous amount of negative energy in the air, so to speak. There's a lot of being taken away. There's a lot of restructuring. There's a lot of transformation. And it's a very painful transformation. Pluto transformation is a painful transformation. And there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of stupidity happening. But it's what's happening. But in light of all of this, it's also an opportunity for a tremendous amount of growth and a beautiful blossoming of a cultural icon. And so that's the one thing I'm not hearing from people, is the one thing that you should be fixated on, because it is the thing that's going to last. It's going to last. All of the negative is going to go down as a memory. But all of the positive, we're going to carry with us. We're going to carry it with us for the rest of our lives. And the last time we had this transit, we had things like the collapse of the coming down of the Berlin Wall. That's an event. So that was, wow, we had a party, whatever. That's pretty cool. But at the same time, we were talking, like right before this, we had Live Aid. That's an event. But right around this time, when it happened before, for whether you like him or not, Michael Jackson released the Thriller album, which was one of the most iconic albums of all time. It's a cultural event. And so we are going through a similar period right now. And so whether you like Michael Jackson or not, who cares? There are other people who created cultural events in different niches. And that is happening right now. And so, and you who are watching this video, and you, Tina, with what you're going through, you guys, one of you guys is the next cultural icon, for better or you are. It's coming. And so all of the stuff that you're worried about that's going to be taken away, or all the stupidness you hear on the news, or all the impeachment talk and the economy and all this stuff, it's going to become a memory. But the cultural thing that's happening, your greatness and your brilliance that's going to come out of this transit is going to last for generations. Awesome. So although it's difficult for some people, some people, some people succumb to these astrological currents, and they allow themselves to drown, in their chi energy. They drown, right? Yeah. But they drown in their own, not in their own, but they drown in the energy around them. Yeah. But for those, they're not necessarily doing it on their own, but for those who are able to rise above and surf the currents, even though it seems negative around you, this is the time for the most beautiful beginning you're ever going to have. And I'm not saying silver lining by any chance. I didn't say silver lining at all. Right. I said they're different. This guy is going to go screw everything up. This guy's going to blossom into a cultural icon. Yeah. But I know some of you out there listening right now, some of you, for the pain, it's beyond bearable for some of you. And for some of you, in spite of the pain that you're going through, will blossom into something that you couldn't possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal in life. It's to reach beyond your imagination into your dreams and then bring them to life.
That's so important, Sonny. I mean, so I can give everybody kind of an example of this when you had mentioned, the time period that Gemini was going through this, really insane, time period of a couple of years, astrologically. That was when I actually got divorced, from my husband, and had moved out. I had my baby. She was not even 2 yet. And it was at that time that I started this YouTube channel. So,
wow, cool, yeah,
which changed my life. And I started the channel simply because I said, oh, okay, I'm a tarot reader. And at the time, in the past couple of years, of course, this has really grown in popularity, but there wasn't that many, back in, when we first started, and at the time, I was like, well, God, I've been reading tarot since I was 13, and I wanted to kind of connect to people, and I thought, well, maybe I can, just help someone here with these readings, because I was listening to other readers' readings, and they were helping me. So I wanted to kind of do the same thing. And then, of course, as you know, this channel has entirely turned my life around in such ways I can't even explain to you. I mean, this is now this is like everything. The YouTube was, this channel, just putting that first video on YouTube, with 0 subscribers, I know, and then that's where everybody starts. That's the beauty of it, and just growing this channel and getting to know everybody here, over the years. I'm living my dream now because of it, So it's just important to keep in mind that even when you're in the trenches, you're in the depths of feeling, so much despair and like, oh my gosh, my whole life, everything I had planned is gone. You can always, there's always that opportunity to take that tragedy and turn it into something beautiful. You never know. You never know. You have to remain positive, have a positive outlook, and it's the law of attraction thing where you just think, okay, this is going to be a good thing, and you don't just think it, you know it, and then that will come to you.
So I'm going to steer the conversation into a particular philosophy here. Quite often, now let's preface this by saying I write horoscopes. Okay, so right. I sit here and I tell you what's going to happen. All right, okay, let's preface this by saying I get it. I am going to tell you what's going to happen. But that's okay, so let's take a break from that for a second. But in spite of that, I do believe that regardless of what's happening around you, and whether you are reaching for goals or not, let's. I want to keep things a little more simple in the conversation today, as opposed to less Anthony Robbins. But I believe you just be who you are. Mm-hmm. So, and to make peace with that, one of the things that we're talking about on the sunny side these days, and I'll ask you this question in a second. But we're talking about being psychic on the sunny side.
Mm-hmm.
And for better or worse, I often avoid that conversation. But again, we're going through a time in life when it seems that I'm going to apply my 2 cents to this conversation.
Completely.
But before anything, any conversation in that can possibly arise, my one of my major part of my background is I'm a master level hypnotist, and I'm a master level hypnotherapist, and I have been for a very long time. And I teach hypnosis, like the whole deal. Perform on stage, written books, meditations, the whole deal. And I help people achieve inner peace. I help people make peace with their decisions, peace with their actions. And these days, and all my meditations are designed for achieving peace. And
they're beautiful. I listen to them. They're wonderful. I highly recommend them, guys. Go check them out.
Thank you. So the deal with achieving peace is, it comes with being comfortable with who you are. So when we have all this swirling stuff, that all you have to do is do who you are. Like, if you're the type of person who has to go to the gym every day, then go to the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're not, don't go.
Right. Exactly. I fall in the latter category. I've tried over the years, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to be so fit and toned. I'm going to be great. I hate the gym. I hate it. It's just not for me.
Don't go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. I will fully admit that.
Yeah, and no, I'm not saying go poison yourself.
Right.
I'm not saying indulge in self-destructive behavior. Don't do that. No one is born self-destructive. That's the opposite of being born. So it's like no one is born self-destructive.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that. No one is, but I am saying, I'm not saying don't try and change yourself for the better if you have negative habits. But what I am saying is, be comfortable with who you are and your interests, and you will inspire yourself as you move through. And in spite of all of the celestial energy, so to speak, and I don't want to sound too new agey, I just don't have a better term for that, like the astrology stuff, or in spite of all of that stuff, you're still going to wake up and do what you have to do to be you. I'll say that again. You're going to do what you have to do to be you.
Yeah.
You got to express yourself every day, and we express ourselves in different ways. And that's
the greatest. Yeah, I mean, the greatest peace and I guess serenity in my life was just I'm a tarot reader. This is what I do. I love doing all of this. The magic, every bit of it. And I was, in my prior life, I was a professional. I did 20 years in corporate America. I was a compliance officer. Nobody knew, what I would do when I got home. Yeah, it's one of the reasons, I rarely showed my face on video, I was like, oh gosh, if they find out, they're going to think I'm such a weirdo, blah, blah, blah. But what really ended up happening was when they found out, everybody was so intrigued, and then I became like the workplace, reader, like what's going to happen with this and that, and, da, 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 da. And so, I mean, I was so terrified that, people would judge me or think I was, just strange or something like that, but then it ended up being the opposite of that. And I felt so much better about it once it came out, because it was me. It is what I am, and and what I do. So, it wasn't, putting on a fake face anymore for, the world that thinks I just go home to my perfectly polished, white picket fence and, da da da. I'm over here doing, magic spells and, reading tarot cards. It's just one of those things where, if you truly allow yourself to be you, it's just very life-changing.
Yeah, and so success follows you. it finds you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have, because you're doing what you do. And I don't just mean tarot reading. I mean, you started a YouTube channel. You stepped out. You see, I believe that your destiny is always looking for you. And all you have to do is shine as brightly as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And your destiny will find you.
I agree.
I believe in that. And so, and in spite of all the things that happened to us in the world and all the things that you went through, this is, it's who you are. So you went and read the cards, started showing a side of yourself. Then you started your YouTube channel, and you're a huge success now. So in a different field, you're a huge success again.
Yeah.
Successful people tend to continue to be successful. It is true. So,
it's about hard work. People ask me about it, and I get that question a lot during personal readings. It's like, what do I need to do to achieve my success? And it's really finding your niche, not ignoring it or dismissing it, but finding your niche and working your butt off. You've got to, from the background, it might seem like, okay, what I do is like easy. Okay, just press record on a thing or light a candle or, pick up some cards. But there's a lot of work, involved in that. And you just have to keep at it, work really hard, and you will be successful. I know you're the same, Sonny, and you know what it is to do, what we do. It's a lot, but it is your calling as it is mine. And that, once you get that door that opens for you, even if it's just a tiny little crack, you take it and you run and you make sure that door is open and work really hard every day at that,
Yeah, even if you're surprised and you don't know, you didn't expect it, take it and run with it.
Yeah.
So I remember at a long time ago, I was like, I didn't know what I was just, honest to goodness, I was just having fun.
Yeah.
I was just at the old music school. I would have Amber and Gab would read the horoscopes, and we'd make a little set, and we'd goof around, and I'd write the horoscopes, and I was doing astrology for the parents and stuff, and doing stuff for the kids, and I was just having fun.
Yes.
But anyways, enough of that. So the biggest thing for anybody trying to do anything, and I know there are going to be a lot of people who are starting YouTube channels and they're having troubles in their life and they want to make the next step. Mm-hmm. And it's not just people, fans of your channel or the Sunny side. Right. We have a lot of YouTubers watch us. I know that as well.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of YouTubers who want to make it in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. And so same thing applies. Absolute same thing applies.
Absolutely.
Keep going, try new things, keep trying, keep banging your head against the wall, and wherever you see the opportunities, like an honest opportunity, not like some kind of, I gotta create an opportunity.
Right.
Like an honest opportunity. Then, if you have a success in one place, take it. I just want to say something about that before we move on.
Sure.
The conversation just came here. I'd like to address it. So, T, I've seen it my entire life, my absolute entire life, trying to create an opportunity or put a round peg in a square hole or a square hole. Like, I've just seen it so many times. And there are people, and in the entertainment industry, for those who don't know, I used to own a music studio. And I've been in this business a long time. And so, and I've seen, I've seen people try and, because sometimes they don't have the money to put the proper project together, or they don't have the money to hire the right guy, or they can't do this, or they can't do that, or they, and so they kind of have to fabricate a lot of the parts, mm-hmm. Which, that's part of the gig. Yeah. And so, but if you can, if you have the opportunity, like a real opportunity where you don't have to fudge the parts, then take it. Mm-hmm. Because there is a very clear path, very clear. But you don't always have the pieces together to take the path. And you also have to have confidence. And you also, that sometimes you need some money, sometimes you need backing. You can,
Yeah,
don't drown yourself. Don't don't hide behind don't hide behind anything. Go
exactly.
shine your light. Don't hide behind. Got to write a new song. Got to make a new video. Go do your thing.
Yeah. The other
And,
thing I'll say too is like I see there's a lot of competitiveness. Like I have to do better than this person. I have to be better than this person. I have to, and I to me that I don't think that way. Like I watch other YouTubers when I can, and I see I see some of them, and I feel like not, not just in the tarot community either. You know what I mean? I'm talking about there are people that have like the best cameras and the best editing software and the best everything, and still have they're not it's not catching, right? But then there's other people that just film on their phone and throw it on YouTube, and then that runs with it. You know what I mean? So it's not like
yeah,
don't feel if you have the charisma, the knowledge, and the drive, you're going to get where you want to be. You just have to keep at it. It is hard work. I have a Capricorn moon, of course, so my moon makes me a workaholic, which is good and
yeah,
bad. But it's just one of those things where that's the other thing I see is people start projects and they go, I don't want to do it, or I don't feel like it, or I got too busy, and that life is life, it happens. But if you just kind of drop things, then how is it? How is it gonna? I don't know. How is it gonna like get you where you want to be? You've got to work hard at it. It's just part of the process. You can have, like I said, the thousands of dollars worth of equipment, but if you don't put up the videos, if you don't do them, then you won't get anywhere.
yeah. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah,
It's not as easy as we're saying.
I know.
It's actually extremely difficult.
I know. I know.
It takes, and you got to walk through. To be successful in anything takes a little bit of determination and
Yes.
belief in yourself and some confidence.
Yes.
All right, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you. So I don't have it phrased in a question yet, but there's a lot of talk around the sunny side about being psychic these days. Like,
Okay.
what is it? I don't know if you consider yourself psychic. I didn't say anything that. I'll just give you my. I'm not even going to give you my 2 cents. Go on. What does it mean to be psychic to you?
To me, it just means to have, I guess, so it means that you are using the ability that every person is born with, and that is called your intuition. Everybody has it in a different way, I guess. Some people have premonitions. Some people, are really good at, I don't know. There's different ways of being psychic or different forms of it. I think that
Mm-hmm.
everybody has it, and some people are more in tune with paying attention to the signs and symbols around them, such as a tarot card, right, is a sign or symbol. Okay, it's also and then relaying that information in a way that makes sense. Does that make sense, or was that kind of rambly? Because I think
I'm writing it down right now.
okay. So that's what being psychic is to me: is being able to pay attention to your intuition, which I truly believe is a human. It's a natural human instinct, just as it is for your brain to tell your heart to beat, because your intuition is what would protect you essentially, from situations or guide you to things, and so again, I think this is more. It's definitely part biological here, and then being able to process that information and utilize it to your advantage or the person that you're working with advantage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like that's no, I totally agree with you. There's there's so in astrology, there's, so like wow, so there's a lot of nonsense out there about what it means, about what being psychic looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of astrological nonsense out there as well. But the astrology community, not community, but the world of astrology is a lot like the world of music per se, meaning that anybody can pick up a guitar and play a couple of songs. But I'm probably not going to hire them to play on the radio.
Yeah.
Or anybody can bang away on a piano, and a whole bunch of people can get really good. But still doesn't mean they're going to play in the orchestra, or that you're going to pay to see them, or that they're. Anyways, what I'm saying is, this there's people. There's a, for the most part, what I hear for the most part, people tend to think psychic is the dominion of the water signs, specifically the domain of Pisces, or the domain of Pisces.
Pisces, yeah, I've heard that many times in my life. Yep.
But it's not really true. And to be honest, in all of the old readings, like the readings, I never heard anyone ever say that of any kind. Like that's only a memes say that, and Pisces, who tend to go talk a lot, say that. My research has said that psychic, like I did a video on this. Why do people keep asking me the question? Just watch the video, man. And so like there is a particular psychic-ish part of the chart, the astrology chart, and there's also, and that lines up. In addition to that, there's a part of they say that planets have to make an aspect or to an angle of the chart, and that's going to define things about you. It's going to give you certain ways of processing and observing information, and none of it has to. And astrology, it doesn't have anything really to do with, like it does in large, like it's about the planets or the the celestial orbs within the signs, within the houses, but it's more than that. That's a benign energy. That's a benign thing. It means nothing. If your moon is in Pisces and it's not aspecting anything, then you don't care about anything. You're like literally, like if your Mars is in Aries, they say, "Oh, my Mars is in Aries. I'm gonna kick your ass."
Yeah.
If your Mars doesn't aspect anything, you have benign energy. It's sitting there. You're just gonna sit there and go. You're gonna like sit there with your remote control and go like this all day long. You're gonna fight the remote control, or you're gonna be on Instagram all day long.
Right. So you're not kicking anybody's butt.
Yeah.
That's so funny, Sonny. So they're alleging that you have to have certain planetary aspects within your chart to be psychic, that you cannot be if you don't have these things. Is that what the assertion is?
The prevailing belief these days is that to be psychic, it has to show up either in a Pisces thing, or one of the water houses, or in a water sign thing, or some kind of thing. But the truth is, that's not true.
It's not.
That's not. These, like if you had a moon, like if you had the moon in the moon in the 12th house means you're reclusive. That doesn't mean you're psychic. Moon in the 12th house in Pisces means you're a closet drug addict, right? Or it means you want to help people behind the scenes.
Got it.
You're like that's to be. But the moon on your ascendant suddenly makes who you are, like right on your ascendant. That's an angle to who you are. You are in tune with who you are, and so that's which is very similar to what you're saying. You're in tune with your receptive capabilities, and so if it's if it's not making an aspect to an angle, then you're not necessarily in tune to your receptive abilities. Right. You're sort of
so like as it relates to this conversation, I don't know, like I'm not an astrologer. My people all know this, that I'm not really well, I don't know a lot about this stuff. What would that mean? Like if you were to not know me at all and you were to look at my moon and my chart, what would that mean, like as it relates to this conversation?
Well, your chart, you have freaking Saturn right on your freaking ascendant.
What does that mean?
You have it right here.
What is that?
Thing. Okay, one sec. Let's see if I can share this screen without. You have. Okay, it's going to go a little blurry, funky bananas right here for a sec. So you have. Let's see. Oh no, I got rid of you on my screen. One sec. I'm just going to.
I can see my chart, but I see what you're doing.
I took your. Oh, 1 second. I was making notes. I'm always making. All right. So you back up. Okay, so I said you have to have planets that make an aspect to an angle of your chart. And let's pull it up so I can scribble on your chart. So on the Mac, I have to do a little scribbling like this. 1 sec. On the PC, it's a little different, but on the Mac, it's that. So let me just take 1 second.
You're fine. Take your time.
And pull it up here. Oh wow! How cool is that? I did it. Okay, so you have to This is an angle in your chart right here. Your ascendant is an angle.
Okay.
This is your midheaven. That's an angle.
Yeah.
This is an angle here. These are the important ones. And down here, that's an angle as well. And they are in order of importance, just like this, just exactly as you would think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you present yourself. Those are the peaks. That's peaking energy in your life. And it's not tense. It's not the intensity energy, but it's energy that really, it's like sets the template for certain parts of your chart.
Okay.
And so they say, like the experts, they say you want to have planets making an aspect to these lines here that I drew in the chart.
Mm-hmm.
And you very clearly do. Saturn is conjunct right here, right? It's at 15 degrees. And then we get Venus, Venus. And then you have the nodes, hello, the nodes of all things, the nodes, which, latent abilities, talents that you're born with and talents that you're developing are right on top of the nodes.
Okay.
And then we have Venus. What the hell did I just do that? We have Venus right here is making an aspect to these guys as well. So you have, and that's just off the top of my, that's just quickly looking at it. You have a lot of, that's just it. There's another secret too.
What is it?
This part of the chart right here is supposed to be the psychic part of the chart. So in addition to having angles moving, in addition to having its aspect in the angles, this is the part of the chart. Do you know that thing that they call Ophiuchus?
Yeah.
That 13th sign?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a reason it was removed from history. And there are a number of different reasons. And one of the reasons is because there are stories preserved in the tarot, and stories preserved in the astrology, which have to do with 12 signs. So that's the big one.
Okay.
So Ophiuchus kind of throws everything off. Our society is based on 12 plus 1. And so, the 12 disciples plus Jesus, right? We live in a 12 plus 1 world. And it's not just that, Like, this is how, before that, people used to count like this. They used to use the base 12 system: 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if you watch people from the old world, like my grandmother's from the old world, that's how she counts, right? It's not a base 10 world.
Yeah,
and so
that's why 13 is a lucky number then. I love 13. 13 is like my best number. It's 13 and 69, but that's
yeah, so we live in a 12 plus 1 world. And that,
oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
Physics is like, oh man, bear with me. New chair has wheels on it. I just changed it last night. And so going back here, the 12 plus 1 thing. So I think it's called the clause of Scorpio. So this here is where a physicist would be in the signs. And in the chart, in the signs between Scorpio and Sagittarius, the clause of Scorpio. And over here, this is where it is in the houses, the cusp of the 8th and the 9th house.
Okay.
Because there are two wheels here. There's the colorful wheel on the outside, and then there's the wheel on the inside, which has the lines in it. And so those are the two quote-unquote psychic parts of the chart. And so that's the action. Your sun is right there. Your Mercury is right there. Like down here, your Uranus is right there. So these are the psychic things. That's why when you hear things like, people are like, how can a Gemini be psychic? That doesn't make any sense. How can they be psychic? They're not even drug addicts.
Right.
They can't even drink. Why would they be psychic? What makes them psychic?
Right. That's
right.
funny.
Or how can a Taurus be psychic? Taurus don't care about nothing. They're the least woo sign out there.
Right.
It's because it's right across.
I see. What would a physicist be like as far as the elements? Was that ever determined?
I really don't know. But I really don't know what kind of. I really don't know.
It would throw.
But I do know that part of the chart was considered the psychic part of the chart, and there's more to it in history. There was a time in history, I think, like there have been stories throughout history of, like there's stories, right, of leaders who go kill all the babies of a certain time period, and you've heard that. It's not like one time or one story or one culture. Mm-hmm. This is something that we hear about on a regular basis. And one of the beliefs out there are they're killing these crazy psychic babies, and so that's one of the stories. And then they removed it from the zone. They removed it because we don't live in a 13 world. We live in a 12 plus 1 world.
Wow.
And so that's what it is. And so that's what it is. So
wow.
Forget it. So that's what it is. So to be, in my opinion, astrologically, to be psychic, well, you have to, no, forget about it. To be in psychic, you have to be in tune with your intuition. That's like a duh. Yeah. Right? And so that's like, all right, whatever. Just try and make up a stupid analogy, but that's pretty basic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And you have to pay attention to your intuition and all that. But when you have planets, and as I said, a planet by itself is benign. There's not a lot. We have a void of course moon every time a moon switches signs. Almost every time a moon switches signs. Mm-hmm. And when it does, it means you don't do anything. Nothing's going on. Because nothing is hitting the moon. Nothing is jazzed. Your moon's not doing anything. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm going to sit here and you're going to read Twitter tweets. And so they're like, but once you hook it up an aspect and get some energy behind this stuff, then you can do something. And once you have these planets interacting with your angles, now you're in tune. This energy, your energy, is in tune with who you are, with your energy.
Yeah.
And that's what it means astrologically. Mm. And so, and you don't need to have any planets in any magical Pisces or any Ophiuchus or any this or any that. You really don't. You just need to be in tune with yourself, because that's what being psychic is all about.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's definitely. I've never, bought in or subscribed to the concept that you have to be a specific, sign to be psychic. Of course, it's always, remarked that Pisces is psychic, and I think that they are. I mean, my grandmother was a Pisces, and she's the one who kind of brought me up in this whole. I mean, she was a huge believer in astrology and magic and everything else. And she was definitely intuitive. Definitely knew something was up. My ex-husband, the father of my daughter, is also a Pisces, so I'm pretty familiar with their energy, and he's very very intuitive as well. He can tell right off the bat, what's going on with somebody usually.
Yeah, I don't say there's anything. I don't think they're not psychic.
Right,
I
right,
really
but that doesn't mean if you're a Taurus or a Virgo or a Gemini that you can't be psychic. Like I've never heard that you'd be excluded. I wonder if they've done like, I look up like random stuff sometimes because I just have these weird thoughts. Like, what is the most, what's like for serial killers? Which zodiac sign is the most has the most serial killers in it? I think it's Pisces, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But I wonder.
I can't remember. I did a search on that a while ago.
Yeah.
I can't. I put a video out. Hey, okay, yeah. Anyways, go on. I just want to check something out.
Yeah.
So. Oh, what the? Well, I guess it's interesting. I guess what we have is we have a number of prominent psychics who actually they were Pisces, and I think that's might be where it's coming from.
Makes sense. Are we talking about like the famous psychics like Sylvia Browne and oh gosh, there's
Let's check. So Sylvia Browne is October 19th.
Okay, so she is Libra.
She's a Libra, straight up. Nostradamus.
Yeah.
Nostradamus is December 14th. He's a Sagittarius.
See, people, you don't have to be Pisces.
Oh, you don't have to be Pisces. So, like, there's. I don't know. So like, it's. Anyways, I don't know. It's just there's someone.
No, it's an interesting. Yeah, I mean, people get stuck on these things, and they're so certain and so sure, and they'll fight you tooth and nail on it. And it's like, hey guys, can we just open up our minds for a second to the possibility that may not be the actual case? Like where's the? I want to see, like, I'm analytical. I want to see the papers. I want to see where this is like written down and analyzed and dissected, and I want charts and graphs. That's my. I want evidence. I want proof. When they have a certain.
These are the top three psychics of all time: Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus, and Sylvia Browne. Like, what do you want me to do? Pull up the Oracle of Delphi here? Like, what the so, like, oh, and Sonny Rosati.
And Sonny Rosati, yeah, there we
go. There you go.
Well, we know that you are a water sign. So you definitely
I made it into the top.
Yeah. So, although I will say, Sonny, that a lot of the very intuitive people that I know are Scorpios, and that I think Scorpios do have a little bit of a psychic tinge to them. Not saying you have to be Scorpio, but most of the Scorpios that I know are just very in tune. I don't know, like emotionally with people, if that makes sense.
Well, Scorpio's known as here's an interesting thing. Well, you raise an interesting question. So Scorpio is known as the detective of the zodiac, and they're a sign that is highly inquisitive
Yeah.
and very good at figuring things out. So is Virgo, right?
Yeah.
Scorpio's good at that. Scorpio's a detective of the zodiac.
Yep.
Virgo is like the bookkeeper of the zodiac, right? And if things don't line up, because we're going to figure out why. And Gemini is definitely the information gatherer of the zodiac. And so these are like and Aquarius is a very outside of the box thinking sign. So those are the four brainers of the zodiac, like straight up brainers, each with their own way of looking at things. So none of that is it's just I'm just riling about perspective today about the and so it's how it's perceived.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of people say I describe Gemini as being a psychic sign because they're good at finishing sentences. They know what you're going to say before you say it. And people say, "Come on, Sonny, that's not being psychic." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." But
predicting the future, isn't that psychic? You're predicting what you're going to say. Yeah, right. That's the kind of like textbook definition. So
it's a textbook freaking definition telling you what's going to happen. Like what do you think psychic is? Oh, like you're going to say this. I'm waiting for you to say it.
Right.
Say it.
Right.
So like, whoa, that's what psychic. The light's going to turn green. Yeah. Duh. So.
Oh my
so
goodness.
anyways, but anyways, neither here nor there about that stuff. It's just the definition. Sometimes we're just, the definitions are, it's frustrating at times because the reality is different than the definitions, the pop culture definitions. And, it's just from, my side of the screen, it's frustrating to have to answer to, clean up language. And it's not really my job. But, but when you're a light in the field, you're going to attract stones, and you're going to attract people who want clarity, and they're seeking clarity. They're seeking clarity and validation.
Yes.
But that's all they're. And so sometimes they seek the clarity and validation in acrimonious ways. All right, if you've been around long enough in your field, you get it. Okay, relax. It's like being a rocket scientist. No, it's not alien technology. Give me a break, man. Buddy down the hall who hasn't left his office in a year and a half and doesn't talk to girls designed that spaceship. If you spent the last 20 years in a little room, you would do it too.
Yeah. No, totally.
So, but I'm not saying it's not alien technology. I'm just saying that particular example is not alien technology.
Exactly.
I'm not saying you don't have to be Pisces. I'm just saying in this example, but I'll leave the door open for Coco Banana stuff that continues to be hidden behind the veil. But the stuff that we've seen is the stuff that we've seen, and and for everybody else who have YouTube channels, just got to remind them to go easy on these. Go easy on this because although you've walked a million miles in your shoes, there's some people who've just arrived at the party and they don't know. So you got to talk to them about it.
That's very, very true. Very true.
So that's part of the gig, So
it is.
It's just part of the gig.
Yeah. Over the years, I've definitely learned that. It's just people can be pretty vicious and malicious on YouTube. You can't take it as seriously. Sometimes, every now and then, I rarely have any confrontations or issues with people. Well, okay, I used to rarely have that. I guess now it's a little more so. I don't ever confront people though. Usually, I'll just get rid of them or leave the conversation. I don't mess with it because I just don't have the energy to exert on it. I don't want to. It's not worth my time.
Well, I'm gonna let you know that people have been pushing me to comment on some of the nonsense out there. So I think I'm going to make some videos. Well, it might cause a little controversy and push back at some of the nonsense, but it's all cool. It's all good. It's all cool.
Some backup. I'll help you on that. Yeah, I'm sick of it too. Like I just it's not been on my channel specifically, but I've seen a lot of what you're talking about, and I'm very happy to help in any way that I can. So just let me know what you need from me, because it is BS, you know. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all I don't know. It's all you know what? It's a crazy new world. All right, enough of that. Enough of that, because
something, yeah.
I don't want to get dragged into that kind of stuff, because, like,
exactly.
you know, where our feet take us is where our feet take us.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, you can always say no in this life. You can always change your mind. You go, hey, I made a mistake, man. Whatever. I apologize.
Yeah.
And so,
That's
check
right.
this out. So people are talking about. So I wanted to know your take on being psychic, because it's what they're talking about on the sunny side right now.
Sure.
And that question you were asked earlier about the astro energy, although I gave you a kind of a circumventive answer, you know, it's a tough astrological time right now that we're going through, and there are big changes that are happening.
Yeah.
And, so I watched. So I have a really heavy question for you.
Sure.
So in astrology, we have these things called grand cycles, and they're about 2,000 year cycles.
Okay.
And we are exiting from the time of Pisces, and we are moving into the age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. Now, like in the world, there's often a very clear sign looking backwards about entering into the era. So if we look something simple, moving from Taurus to Aries, in Taurus we had the bull's heads everywhere, and we had the idea of the scorpion in the desert, and we had, which is the opposite of Taurus, right? It's a Scorpio thing.
Yeah.
And so we had ideas like the Egyptians going into the underworld, right? The god of death and the underworld is a very Scorpio thing. And then we had talking about the Nile and its fertile delta, which is a very, very Taurus thing, right? It's growth, mm-hmm. And so it's planting things. And so we moved from there into a very Aries, Libra kind of situation in life. And we kicked over. And during that period, we had the Romans moving out and conquering things in a very Aries kind of way.
Right.
And the symbol shifted to the ram. It shifted from the bull's heads everywhere, to the rams. And on the other side, we're always talking about how the Romans brought law and order and balance to everything, which is a very Libra kind of thing. Then we went through the period of Pisces, and Pisces was the era of Christianity. And it's the era, Jesus was the biggest martyr of all time, and he is known as, his people are known as the little fishes. Pisces is a sign of being a martyr. Yeah, and on the other side of that, Pisces is a healing sign. Yeah. We know Jesus was supposed to be a healing kind of guy, whether you believe in that or not. Mm-hmm. And then on the opposite side, we have Virgo, which is extremely analytical, which is kind of nitpicky, which is questions things. And Virgo spearheaded things, the Inquisition, burning witches, all of the Gothic cathedrals, that's very detailed and intricate and ornate. It's a very Virgo-y kind of thing.
Virgo, yeah.
And so as we're leaving that era, so they were very clear from what looking back, there were clear signs. So just to let you know, I'm not talking like this because I saw the freaking movie The Passion of the Christ last night for the first time. And we're in 2020, and the movie is like 10 years old. I'm like, this is the movie? You guys you're making me watch 2 hours of a guy like, why would I do that? I could watch the hockey game tonight. Like, why are you watching? Why are you making me watch this?
Right.
And so, like,
what made you watch it? Why did they want to watch it?
And it's in like different languages. I had to read it. I'm like, this is a reedy film. Why would I watch a movie to read? I could just read the book.
Yeah,
what the hell?
I know.
And so, like, who makes a movie you have to read? Even that movie, Babe, Pig in the City, was dubbed. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You watch a movie of pigs on the farm and you're reading subtitles? That's it. So, the hell reads a movie?
Yeah, I haven't even heard
read
speak
a movie
of this movie in so long. Yeah. I know it was
Just
very
like reading the
popular.
program. What's this movie? Read the program, and then you go and you sit down and read the program. Like, they should just show the movie at the library. Like, what the hell? And so, anyways, so that that and the so that's a very clear time period, a clear indicator in history
Mm-hmm.
that we're clicking forward. And so the people, for the last couple thousand years, who are supposed to be you know, the caretakers of these times, which we are, because like talking about it, like we are the caretakers of these grand cycles, and we're supposed to tell everybody about it. And so, like the whole Jesus thing is a very clear, hey man, that's a sign. So or the the Roman thing is a sign, and the Egyptian thing is a sign. And then moving back before that, we had Sphinx. Sphinx is a lion's head. It's a very clear time of moving through the era of Leo.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah. So
have we been through the era of Gemini yet? Just out of curiosity.
yeah, Gemini would have been right before the Egyptians. So it would have been Gemini Sagittarius. So it would have been a time of exploration. It's a time of exploration, a time of education, a time of moving beyond, a time of expanding philosophy, a time of learning and discovering. It would have been a massive, massive time of gathering information, like taking notes and things. It's a time of leaving the desert and moving into society.
Would that have been maybe right or like during the era that like written language was established, like in that time frame? Because I believe I don't, of course I don't know this off the top of my head, but I believe it was around it was in the the Egyptian time that we started creating the written language and started making paper and books and libraries and
right.
things like that. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
That makes a lot of sense. That would be about 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Was the beginning of Pisces. So 2000 BC was the beginning of Aries. 4000 BC is the beginning of Taurus. So right between 4 and 6,000 years ago, it's would be the beginning of, it makes a lot of sense. The beginning of written language.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning of written language, the beginning of new forms of communication.
Right.
Communication, information gathering.
Yeah, which was important. That's kind of what changed everything. And then we went into Rome, and then okay. So
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So
is that so? So what does this mean with we're going to the dawning of the age of Aquarius? I can't I love Hair so much, the musical. I'm so Gemini right now. I'm silly, but I sing the first line usually of that to my Aquariuses when I read to them. But we're going into, it's the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So what does that mean for us? I mean, what do you think, just on a personal level, this is going to entail?
That's the question. The question is, okay, so I'll tell you that in a sec, but the question is, what's the sign? Have we seen it yet? So, or what's the deal?
Well, what about technology? Wouldn't that be a sign, like the internet? I mean, that changed the world drastically, so drastically.
So yes, the internet, yes, and it's both sides of the axis has to come out. So on one side is Aquarius comes out, and then the Leo side has to come out. What's happening is we have the Aquarius side is lots of people speaking.
Yeah.
And we're having more information, lots and lots of people speaking. Everybody is given a voice right now. No judgment here, right? We judged earlier in the conversation. So everyone's given a voice, and everyone has the ability to speak and communicate right now. Aquarius kind of levels the playing field. And so on one side, everyone has a voice and an opportunity to emote and then or to express themselves. And on the other side, we have Leo, which is certain people shining up or the individual able to express himself in this collective.
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind, it's both at the same time. So like the Taurus thing wasn't just Taurus and the fertile delta and the stability and the plowing the fields. It was also the underworld, which is the other side at the same time. People talking about the underworld. Aries wasn't just about Rome conquering things. They Libra it as well. They brought law, whether it's the right law or subjective.
Right, justice.
And time of the fishes, they're supposed to, they're very much turn the other cheek. That was their philosophy. But they drowned a whole hell of a lot of witches in the process. Mm-hmm. And I don't recall, they killed a lot of people in the Crusades. And so Aquarius is bringing the ability to communicate as a whole for a lot of people. And there's also a humanitarian aspect to it as well. They're bringing relief to a lot of the world, bringing everything up to a common denominator here. But in addition to that, there are voices. The individual has the opportunity to be heard amongst the masses now.
That's a very valid point. Everybody has a voice. You're right. You're absolutely right. Wow.
It's actually SLC's point. SLC told me that.
That's a good one. I like it. I really like it. So
I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe we're all gonna be on TV. It's like, what's a TV?
I know. So what is our next big astrological event coming up? I know that there's several. What do we have? 6 eclipses this year? 7, something like that.
God. To have an eclipse, you have to. It's a new moon or a full moon in the sign of the nodes. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is. And so, a technical astrological eclipse, an eclipse just means it passes past the light, so it's not really a big deal.
Right.
But and an eclipse is a big deal. But I would say right now we're going through the biggest thing right now, and that is the Pluto conjunct Saturn.
Okay.
And that's going to restructure things on a grand level. So we've been talking about this for a long time. It's going to. So there should be a political restructuring happening around the world. There's the last time something like this happened. Remember, the Berlin Wall came down, and so now walls are going up. It works in a cycle.
Yeah.
And so, the time, last time it happened in Capricorn, was the Lutheran referendum or Reformation, Lutheran Reformation, where they were changing the political structure of Europe. And so we're kind of going through that right now. The Americans are talking about pulling back from everywhere, and they're pulling back. And we talked about this for years and years and years. I said there's a sense that everybody's going home, and I could just see 4 or 5 years ago. So let's see, I spent the last 2 years in Toronto, and before that, 3 years at my studio. So 5 years ago, there's a huge sense of home. People were going home. I'm like, what's going on? I was in Vancouver. I didn't have a home. I was in Vancouver. That's where I was. And then I'm seeing everybody's going, where are you going? Why are you leaving? Fight. Do it. What are you doing? And the guys just going home. It's the weirdest thing. Leaving, Vancouver is very much a city that people go to. And then going back, what are you doing? And then now, there's the bringing people home, bring the soldiers home. Get rid of this country, get rid of this. We don't want to do this. We want to do this. And so that's one thing, which is whatever. Yeah. But when you take people, it's the world is not what it used to be. So if you remove yourself from one place, other people are going to fill it in. Yeah. And so have the United States leaving and Russia taking over. It's really a scary situation. And so, but it would be really scary if I wasn't Canadian.
Yeah, you lucky duck. I know. You lucky Canadians. I know. That's so funny.
So, but so it's a difficult time there's political restructuring happening right now. Mm-hmm. And so there's political restructuring. There's going to be, okay, so that's a big deal. The Donald Trump thing is a little different than what's happening in the world right now.
Okay.
I very strongly believe that if Hillary Clinton was elected, we'd be going through a very similar situation, although in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
So I don't know that she would be impeached, because like the guy's not impeached for, he's impeached because of buffoonery, right? Like, we all know it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
So, like, they weren't going to impeach him. He just got a little too stupid. And so, so if you forget about all of that, the stuff that's going on with China would have still happened with China. It might not have been as insane or as, cut and dry and as radical, because he's a radical kind of reactionary guy.
Yes.
So, and Hillary is a very, she's a Scorpio. She's a very behind the scenes kind of person. So imagine that Hillary's a very behind the scenes person and Trump is a very in your face person. She's a Scorpio. He's a Leo rising, right? He's a Gemini, obviously, but he's a Leo rising. So one is behind the scenes, one's in your face. But, she would have had the problems in the Middle East. Like, Trump didn't cause those problems in the Middle East.
No.
Like, he went and killed some people who kind of stupid. Like, he did that.
Yeah.
But he didn't, like he's being pressured from someplace. Hillary would have been pressured. She would have had to deal with China eventually. She would have probably not have had lunch with the North Korean guy. But, like, she would have,
Yeah, that really confused me. I'll be honest, Sonny, I don't like, I don't know, like politics to me is so hostile that I kind of tend to stay away from it, I mean, I can talk about it, I know a little bit about like what's going on, but like unless something major happens, I'm really, you know what I mean? I kind of just, I don't involve myself in it. And I understand it's very, very important and I do vote and all of those things, but it just became, I don't know how to explain it. Like for me, it's just so, it's such a hostile thing that like I didn't want to like lose friendships over it. I mean, I got off Facebook like 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, I think it was right around the Donald Trump election because I had so many friends on either side of things. And if I don't even know how it works anymore, but I would like something, people would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you like that post," And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? Like you've been a friend of mine for 20 years. Like, oh my gosh, It was just, I don't know. So I ducked out. But, I can say that, I have been over, to Southeast Asia, to Afghanistan, and it's such an interesting thing to actually, to be there and kind of see what is actually really going on. It really changed my whole outlook on the world and on just life in general and our country, here. I don't know, I can tell you this, we here, in North America are very incredibly lucky. We have a lot that we don't even know or even understand that we have, It's just,
I'm visiting Canada. If you want to see plenty,
I
visit
want
Canada.
It's been on my list of places to go. I know. I need to get up there. I really do. In the summer, of course, because I don't even own a jacket. It's 80
You'll need a
degrees
jacket.
right
You'll
now
definitely
here in
need it.
Florida.
I want to say something. About the thing. I'm only talking about this because this is what we're going through astrologically right now, and I just made a couple of videos about Donald Trump, what's happening in the United States. But the thing is, the Sunny Side's an international channel. Half of my viewers are from Asia and Europe. And when I lived in Vancouver for all of those years, more than half of people I worked with were from Asia because I'm on the West Coast, so I'm in Vancouver. And so when you're international, imagine this. Like, say there was a political situation happening in, say, Australia, and it's making a lot of news. In Australia, that's like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Or what's going on with like the Philippines? I lived in the Philippines. I hung out in the Philippines for a while. or I have lots of friends in Hong Kong, right? And I have tons of friends in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so what? So what? And what gets so we don't. So when you're international, you don't really get sucked into those kind of things. It's fun to talk about, but I don't really have a vested interest in it. And to let you know, on the sunny side, join the sunny side group on Facebook. I have to check these people out because it's important to keep our harmonious, international kind of respect other people's different opinions and views on the sunny side. It's very important, and it's a much larger world on the sunny side than your corner of the neighborhood. And so if I see political stuff on your Facebook page that's like Donald Trump yes or Donald Trump no, you're not getting on the sunny side group.
Oh, good.
And I don't care whether you are pro or con. You're not getting on the group.
Yeah, so you just want to make sure you're not just letting in people that are just going to start
people in my fans in Vietnam don't care. Right. You know, my fans in Hong Kong don't care.
That's how I feel about it too.
Like, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel that way. It's exactly what you're saying. Because I mean, of course, you know, our channels are global, and I literally talk to people all over the world every single day. You know, I all the time. You know, I almost feel like I don't know. I feel so separated from like the government with regard to like what's happening. Like it's funny because like, you know, they're all up here fighting, or, you know, doing all these things or crazy things, you know, and then we're actually here, like the real people are actually here, like giving each other love and light, you know what I mean? And that's what is so weird about it, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like totally removed from that because like, I don't know. I wouldn't know. Like, I don't care if you're Chinese or Vietnamese or Mexican, or it doesn't matter to me, like where you're from. I know all I care about is what's in here, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's very hippie-ish of me, but it's true. I literally have no presumptions about any nationality, race, or religion. I could care less. You know, I really only care about who you are as a human being. You know, what kind of person are you?
I look at it like this. So I look at it like this, and I'm not knocking anyone who does that. So if you have your thing on your Facebook page, it's okay. It's cool with me. Yeah. You know, again, either side, I'm not talking about either side. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. Then you can't really come to this community. But so when you're in a multicultural vibe, right? So say you're hanging out in Montreal, or I believe when you sit down to talk, you know, you converse in the language of the table.
Yeah.
You know, if everybody's speaking French, you try and speak French, or you get someone to help you. So, like, what's the deal? And so, you know, you talk, you know, you speak in the language of the room, you speak in the language of the table.
Sure.
And so when you bring those ideas, and so when you're talking to a broader scope of people from who have, you know, who are, you know, an international community, it's a different language. So saying things like this political side, this or that, it's not really the language of the room. It's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We might talk similar things like, say, you know, the cost of living or the cost of energy, or like producing, you know, coal mine here, it's cheaper or stuff. And then you can say things like, well, you know, based on my community, this is my belief, you know. But so there's, you know, it's like
definitely there's a difference between attacking, you know, because you have an opinion, and attacking others who disagree with that opinion, and saying, well, this is what I am, and this is who I am, and that's it. You know, I mean, you don't like. There's no reason to, you know, I don't know, like go after, you know, be cutthroat against someone because they just have a different opinion. Of course, this is my Libra rising, you know, coming out, but I just think that's so silly. If I had disregarded or dismissed or not even, I don't know, given a chance to everyone in my life that I've met, you know, in all of my years on this earth that was different than me, I would have missed so much. You know, I mean, I can't imagine, you know, living life that way. It's unfortunate because I do believe that in some, you know, and I, you know, call any out, but there are a lot of organized religion teaches you to exclude. If they are not you, then you are. Then they're not good enough for you. Like that type of behavior. And again, there's this multiple religions, not just one, but that's one of the things, and that's one of the main reasons why as in my early teens, left, organized religion. I'm very spiritual, obviously, but I couldn't understand the reasoning behind saying, well, because they're not like you, they're wrong, and they're not gonna, matter, in the afterlife. Like what? It doesn't make sense. I was like, wait a minute, but they're an awesome person. They're very loving and kind and sweet, and that was really what just kind of made me leave.
Now, don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to contradict anyone or anything here.
Sure.
There's there has, I don't know if there's a place for that in the future, but there has been a place for that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll say that again. There has definitely been a place for that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
A place, there has. There has. And for a lot of people, and I would say even today, for the majority of people, associating with the tribe is one of the greatest things that they can do for their survival, their day-to-day survival. And for the majority of people, the thinking locally is the best thing that they can do for their day-to-day survival.
Oh,
Most people aren't going to they're not going to visit. They're not going to see the ocean. Most people will live their lives and never see the ocean.
So crazy.
And it's most of the earth is covered in ocean.
Yeah, I live on the ocean. Yes.
So most, and most people aren't going to go to Asia. Most people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Most people live their lives where their lives are.
Yes.
And so we should focus on the cost of bread at their store. Most people should worry about the factory that's in the neighborhood. Most people should be concerned with, is that mine going to close? Because that's what you're doing. But for other people, there's a but to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
The but is we have been, and we continue to be, moving into a global world. We're talking on the internet now. I'm not giving a workshop in I'm not standing in the Learning Annex in Toronto. The Learning Annex doesn't even exist anymore. I'm not, or the Omega Center. All these places I used to teach at and used to give public, lectures and stuff. They don't even exist anymore. But I'm not standing there giving a workshop on hypnosis and stuff in Yorkville in Toronto. I'm talking to you on the internet.
Exactly.
So
and that's the age of Aquarius. That's been one of my biggest things. It's like, okay, trying to get a store, because that's what a typical business would do, to get a store. But is that even a thing? Is it going to be a thing? Brick and mortar stores, in the next 10 years. I don't know.
I'll give you another. So we're talking about a reality versus what's coming, what we're in the process of en train de. When I owned the music studio and we were teaching lessons, so be very careful, because you have a business right now, but your business is online. So people would say to me, and they would say things like, well, why don't you take out ads in a newspaper? And I'm like, dude, ads in a newspaper? First, nobody reads a newspaper anymore.
Yeah.
That's stupid. I might as well just
that's true.
Signs on birds. Like, what the hell? That's stupid. Second, this newspaper has a distribution which goes from Vancouver, from North Van, where I was, all the way down to almost to the United States border. Nobody's going to drive an hour and a half to come for a music lesson. That's stupid. This is stupid. That's bad advice. So,
I love the Scorpio rage. It's
like,
stupid. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
especially when money's on the line. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
so,
So
like,
funny.
God, I don't know. Like, anyway, so you have to, so think very, be very clear in what you're doing and where you're going in life.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a political conversation. There's nothing wrong with digging in. There's nothing wrong with all that blah blah blah
Having
blah
an
blah. A
opinion,
lot of
that's
wrong
fine
can come
too.
from it, but
Yeah.
like, so what? That's your own problem.
Exactly.
And so, but it's like what we say about astrology. Reading astrology is not really that difficult. You just have to have the right charts. If you have the right chart, you know what you're looking at. It's not really that complicated.
I need
And
to
so,
get a book.
anyways,
I need a book. That's the way I learn things. I have plenty of them, like astrology books, but sitting down, like you guys amaze me. I was listening to, do you know Psychic Sounds by B?
I'm not sure.
She's
He might know that stuff.
She's a channel. She has a channel as well, and she does same stuff, astrology, same stuff as us. But she's more astrologically focused, I guess. But she was talking last night, and she was like, "Oh, the North Node and and those at 12 degrees of Saturn and Mars are going to have this, this, and this." And I was like, "What?" Like, I don't think I have like I'm very analytical, but it's in like language and words, like a mathematical thing. I don't know. Like, I always struggled with math as a kid, and for some reason, astrology is very mathematical to me. It does the same thing to my brain as trigonometry.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, trigonometry would have been the death of me in high school, and now I'm like, that's what astrology sounds like to me. In my head, it does that thing.
It doesn't have to be that complicated, but I think it's not that. It's important. When you're doing your astrology stuff, the things have to line up.
That's
and
the thing.
The math helps it line up a little bit.
Once you get that, once you understand how astrology impacts you and how your chart is placed and what is going on. I mean, to me, it was like I had the biggest epiphany. I was like, I mean, like, I can't believe this because looking forward, we can also see, where things are lined up and why things are the way they are with your life and, things like that going on. It gave me like a sense of peace and relief, and also just like, I wish everybody knew about this. Why wouldn't everybody? This should be a requirement. Like when you're born, like you start teaching this, in kindergarten. I want kids to know, like, okay, well, this is what happens when this is in your chart because it is. It's so important. I don't know.
Well, no, it is important. As we're saying that, I'll tell you a couple of things that's going to happen in 2020.
Yes.
So this thing we're going through, we're peaking right now. And so we're going to go through it, and we're going to do it. There's going to be a big change. There are going to be some great things that happen in a very cultural way. The world is going to keep going, and we should all be moving forward right now until the end of April, and then we're going to take some strides forward.
Okay.
But then in April, all summer long, it's going to come back, and it's going to be difficult, and so. There's a big change coming. So when Jupiter crosses Pluto, that's astrological talk. Jupiter is approaching Jupiter is approaching Pluto right now, and when that happens, that's going to be the indicator of the big change. And it's coming this year. But then from end of April onwards, all summer, we're going to backtrack. Everything is going to go retrograde. So all of the nonsense that we're going through, it's going to be difficult. So the people who have been really feeling it, like your Pluto is at 25 degrees, Libra, like that, you're going to feel it. You're not going to feel it you're going to feel it around March.
Okay.
And it's going to be serious. It's really going to happen.
No, really. I mean, anxiety-inducing, and I can't really put a finger on it. I mean, it's just I'm very extremely busy. Like I've got a lot of stuff going on all at once, but I don't know. I don't know why, but this past weekend, I was feeling attacked. Like what is going on with everybody around me right now? Not in my real life, but well, I guess that is my real life, but people I was dealing with on the internet, and I'm like, what? Why is this happening? And I just couldn't.
Don't worry.
I think
It's a transit.
it's a
Don't worry
transit.
about it. It's a
Yeah.
transit. It's slow and painful, but it's a transit.
Well,
Don't
you know
worry
what
about it. You know.
it did though. I took that and I said, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to sit down and I'm going to take this last week of Capricorn, where the sun's in Capricorn, and I'm going to make a, more structured business plan, because I realized that that was something that is likely missing. I would feel better if I had at least a semblance of, okay, in February we're doing this, in March we're doing this, and these are my rules, and this is what is established for my business. And if you're a part of this, you have to abide by these rules, because that's been my main problem. It's just like,
No, you gotta. This is the time to put the plan in. To put the plan, and in a couple of weeks, that's the time to start talking to everybody when we're in Aquarius. Okay. And so it's gonna get. So everybody who's had it difficult in the last couple of years, they're gonna have it difficult again, and then they'll finally be out of it at the end of 2020. So
I can't wait. That'll be nice.
Here's the thing: in 2021, there's going to be an attack on the United States. That's an almost guaranteed lock. But it's hard to see in the astrology. I got to be honest. I was looking at the 9/11 thing, and I'm just not seeing it. And but I do know that astrologically, it's coming in 2021. It's going to be tough in the United States. Mm-hmm. We're guaranteed to have a stock market correction between. The correction is supposed to come in 2021 as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's 2021 is going to happen. It's Uranus is going to square Saturn. Saturn's going to square Uranus, and that always indicates a major stock market correction. Okay. And so it's kind of like, what am I going to, that's the way it is. Like, this is pretty textbook stuff. It's from the textbook, from Henry Weingarten's book. It's from the textbook. Right. And so, I didn't make it up. So it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to chew on, but, I think, we'll see. I mean, we'll just have to see what happens. We can't, if it's written in the stars, there's not a whole lot you can do to prevent things like that. So, I mean, you just have to see how that...
You don't have to worry about it. So just to interrupt you for a second, just to let you... So some of the Sonny, the people I'm reading right now, yeah, they're asking, they have ideas. They want to do things. Yeah. And so eat until the stock crashes a little bit, then buy your house when everybody's broke. Look at it in terms like that. That's when everything is gonna, that's a buying opportunity. So wait, we're not about, it's coming. Yes. Like I said, you're in charge of your own destiny. So you could buy now when the prices are high, or just wait a year or so. And good. Our lease is up when Saturn is retrograde. Obviously, we're not going to move while Saturn's retrograde. That's obviously a bad idea to sign a lease then. Or when Venus goes retrograde, it's obviously a bad idea. That's a bad time to do things like that. So we're not going to do it. And so
I'll have to. I know I still haven't heard about mine. I guess I think they were supposed to give me 60 days, so we'll see what they say. We're almost up to the time where they've got to renew it or not. So, but my
really?
Yeah, this building needs some pretty major repairs. So it's a beautiful place. It's a condo on the beach, but it was built. Sorry, helicopter. We got the Coast Guard over here. So, yeah, it just needs some major repairs. I'm always wondering if the owner's gonna, sell it and then build one of those newfangled, high rises that are coming all over the beach now. It's, that's just the way it is. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah. You're gonna go through it right now. Everything is at 22 degrees in the sky right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at 22 degrees, and your moon is at 23 degrees, and your Pluto is at 24 degrees. You're gonna get hit really hard right now. It's gonna be tense.
I can't fathom.
Don't worry about it though.
I'll just have to work through it. I don't know what it could be. Although
T. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, you're fine. I was going to tell you a funny story about earlier. I'm fighting with PayPal right now. They're screwing me over. Somebody, one of my clients booked a
What is it?
reading.
What is it?
Well, one of my clients booked a reading,
What
and
is,
she went to send, the cost of the reading, because I had done one for her a few months ago, and she sent accidentally, um, like 100 times more on accident. So of course I checked my email this morning, and I'm like, oh my god. So emailed her. I'm like, oh my gosh, you accidentally sent me this amount of money, and she's like, oh yeah, I did. And so I called PayPal, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, I need to just refund all of this, and then we'll start fresh. Have her just pay for the reading fee. And they're like, we changed our terms of service in October, and we are going to be charged a fee. I was like, how much? They're like, $330. I was like, let me speak to your
wow!
fucking supervisor right now. So you're probably going to see like a PayPal rant video here in a minute, but I'm done. If they do not, oh my gosh, if they charge me $330 to refund this woman's money, you will never hear the end of it from me. I will bash them. Like, I will go Donald Trump on them. Let's just say that. So you'll see the real Donald Trump over here, Gemini style. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, come on, guys. I've done business with them for years, and I've done a lot of business with them, and they've made plenty of money off of me. It's not, I'm so mad. So we're changing up some things over here.
It's a little bit of this,
Yeah, it's just that
Google,
kind of stuff.
YouTube Super Chat takes a whole hell of a lot of big percentage.
A lot.
But no, but they protect, like, they take a lot. It's, can you imagine if you like, holy smokes, like that's a lot. And then some,
Yeah.
but then again, the PayPal, they're not on the side of the PayPal user, they're on the side of the consumer. So it's tough. It is. I don't know what to say.
I don't either. I mean, the only option is to just discontinue using them for anything ever again, and that's, I mean, to them it's a very, very small hit. They don't care about me, but, eventually, that catches up with them too. I believe that,
Yeah, they've done. I'm not overly thrilled with some of the stuff that PayPal has done, and SLC absolutely hates PayPal. She hates PayPal.
I have my business,
and we work all the time. So
yeah, I'm mad. It's okay. I already opened a new account, so I know. I'll just switch it up and then keep going from there. I don't know.
I don't want to say too many things about PayPal, because I don't want people to watch the video and do some of the things that people have done. Yeah. So that's the thing, because it can really affect our business.
Yeah.
And so PayPal sides with the consumer, straight up.
I've had issues, like disputes. I've never lost a dispute with them ever, but I've had it like maybe 2 or 3 times over the course of something, But I've always been able to prove, because I videotape everything and then I send them that and keep all emails, So I've always had a good relationship with them, and that's why I use them for business and everything else. But now I'm like, good Lord, PayPal. I mean, come on, why?
At least you can speak to someone, right?
Yeah, so. I guess, but I mean, the lady was you should have heard her. She was so obnoxiously rude. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I was like, let me talk to your boss. And then I had to get off the phone because we had to come on. So I'll call her back. I'll call them back. I'm gonna go all Karen on them. I'm calling corporate.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I get it. I know. I totally understand.
It's a small thing in the big picture of things. It's really not a big deal, but it's just the principle, of all of it. It's just, I mean, like, oh my gosh, that's crazy to me. I couldn't imagine operating a business that way, And
yeah, I understand.
Losing valuable clients over it.
Soon we'll all. Sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm done.
Soon we're all going to be using Libra from Facebook, and then all of this stuff is going to be in the past.
Really?
So,
okay.
The English-speaking world is going to, once Facebook, their thing, because we're going through that time period astrologically where, this whole thing, Uranus in Taurus and the restructuring of finances, it's people were saying it was going to be Bitcoin, 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 but that doesn't really that
No.
doesn't Bitcoin is that's like a thing. You
Yeah.
don't need you need structure,
Mm-hmm.
and Facebook owns structure, and all they need to do is add their technology to like money is technology.
Is it gonna?
And
You said it's called Libra. Like I don't go on Facebook, so I don't know this stuff. Is that what it is?
they have yeah, they're trying to put together their version of PayPal,
Oh.
and their version of PayPal, I think, is called Libra. And
How funny! What a nice name.
yeah, it's a beautiful name.
Mm-hmm.
And if they implement Libra, then just imagine the ramifications that's going to happen around the world. It's suddenly nobody's going to use money.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's already like that, but we're 90% there. But
Well, imagine people who work for a living and they get paid direct deposit into their banks. Imagine that they now get direct deposit into their Facebook account. That will wipe the bank out.
well, isn't that funny?
And
Because
imagine using the same as we use PayPal right now. We buy things online using PayPal.
yeah,
You know,
I do it
and
every
so
day.
imagine all of the businesses that have their have their accounts through Facebook already. They can just pay their employees into the Facebook account instead of the bank, or they can you can pay your bills through your Facebook account as opposed to paying your bills through PayPal. And
But are you then forced to have Facebook? See, this is where the problem lies. Like my assistant is setting up the store.
Then you'd be, but there's a but. To interrupt you, there's a but.
Okay.
Okay. So the answer is yes, and there are bigger ramifications than what we're talking about, because now we're talking about net neutrality in the United States. If Facebook's not on your internet provider, you don't have any money, right? And so there's a different kind of thing. But if you work for a bank, like I used to work for the Royal Bank in Canada, they paid me direct deposit into my Royal Bank account. And if I didn't have a Royal Bank account, well, I'm not getting paid. And so that's the deal. And so other places, they force you to use their product.
What is that,
right? And
though?
They encourage you to use their product. So if you work for like if you work anywhere, if you work for GM and you show up driving a I don't know, like a BMW, they're not going to be happy. So
I know exactly what you mean, but okay. So the business practice behind that, the ethical standards there, that's heinous. If I've had a bank account with USAA, who I love, with for 20 years, I should not be forced to use Bank of America's banking system if I don't prefer them. I mean.
Well, if you're working for the Bank of America, they can say we're going to pay you,
only through a BOA account. Nice.
Yeah, or they,
we'll see.
They could say you could go work somewhere else.
And that's exactly what I would do.
I don't know if it's, but that's the way it was when I worked for the Royal Bank of Canada.
That's insane. I encourage people, I don't know, for my business, of course I want people to come to me, but if there's something that I don't, that somebody else does better, I will tell them, right away, oh, check out this person, they do that, or,
Yeah, keep in mind, there are incentives to it, meaning the account's no fees on the account.
Because you work there?
Because you work there. It's a staff account.
Well, it's like the stores in the mall. They make you wear their clothes or their makeup or their whatever because they give you an employee discount. But that's, still, that there's, okay, there may be no fees associated with it, but the bank is still benefiting because by having your money, of course, in holdings there, you know what I mean? It shows their value. They're more valuable. So they are, even though there's no fees and you are personally maybe not paying any fees, that bank is still making money off of you, by having that bank account there.
It's like they didn't pay you either.
Correct.
The money
Yeah.
just stays in their vault.
Exactly. They've got more money to lend, which in turn turns into interest, and then they're bilking the system. It's just this whole big thing, I don't know. Whatever. It's crazy.
So what? So the so I think so I think so I didn't think like a Bitcoin is obviously doing its thing, but I think the bigger deal is Facebook's equivalent to PayPal whenever it comes out. I think that's a bigger deal.
We're setting up a shop on Facebook. My assistant is right now, so I'll definitely take a look at that. I just stopped using the platform, and I honestly don't have time to go. I don't really go on social media. I post to my Instagram a few times a week or something, but that's it. But I will definitely look into this. This is going to affect my business for sure.
Yeah, down the road. It's not going to happen today.
Yeah.
And it's down the road. Why they? I'm talking conspiracies now.
Yeah,
you got me talking conspiracies is funny. Why would I talk about
conspiracies?
Anti-conspiracies.
Yeah.
But it's it's one of the reasons why Zuckerberg's being so nice to everybody. He's being as politically correct down the line as possible, as one human could possibly be. He is about as politically correct as human possible.
You should read his chart.
Possible right now, and he's doing it because this is a big deal.
Oh, of course. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. Have you done his chart yet on your channel? I'd love to see.
Oh, I should. Let me write it down. And I'll write that down. That would be interesting. It's fascinating.
What a lucky kid. Good Lord. Can you imagine? Make this stupid little silly thing in college and end up, a freaking world power, really,
That's how life works sometimes, he really...
Perfect example of what we were talking about earlier is getting that angle. You see people are catching on to this little communication portal that you've created, and then going for it, gunning it,
Or how about Uber, right? How simple of an idea is Uber?
It is so simple, and it was really another thing that changed the way everything works. I Uber not all the time, but if I go out, if I'm gonna have even a glass of wine, I'll Uber. I don't. Yeah, there's no reason. Whatever. It's simple, but there were a lot of, and I think there still are a lot of loopholes in Uber and things that really need to be checked out. I mean, there's a safety issue to me. It's concerning. I've known an Uber driver personally that would drink and drive while driving an Uber. I know, and had canceled their insurance. It was terrible. And can you imagine getting into an Uber and the driver is intoxicated? What do you do? Yeah,
well, you know what? There's a thing that could happen with a taxi. Except with a taxi, the cost of getting a taxi license is so insanely high that to lose it is a major thing. And so, but in Uber, there's no, so they lose a driver. If they had a thing where if an Uber driver they had the similar kind of penalty, an Uber driver is caught driving under the influence, then Uber would be fined $1 million for each guy, right? Because that's what it would cost the other guys. And so, if they did that, Uber would take responsibility, but they're not.
They should do.
And I don't know if they are or if they're not, but I know in the taxi industry, the thought of losing the taxi plate is very big. I know in Vancouver they can cost between $250,000 to $1 million, and so that's a lot of money.
To look at,
And so,
even if
$250,000, right, to $1 million. And so,
holding Uber accountable, for at least something would be a good idea. And I don't know. I haven't looked into all of their corporate policies to see what that entails. I don't know if they are. I don't even know. This is so bad because I take Ubers, but I don't even know if I think the driver is required to hold some sort of liability insurance. But does if you were in an accident or something happened, can Uber be held liable? Or when we download that app and say I agree, dink, did we automatically release any and all liability to Uber?
Maybe.
We probably
I don't know.
did.
That's a good.
Well, it's just question. YouTube has the same policy. As soon as you sign up, This video does not belong to me anymore. As soon as I post it, it's now the property of Google. Even though it's our intellectual property, it doesn't matter.
It's okay. It's like in the say you own a massage parlor. I use massage parlor as an example because people could actually get into it. So walking up the stairs, that's the property. That's the building. But and inside, when you're inside the massage place, then that's the clinic. Say you're sitting down in the waiting reception area, and you twist your ankle. That's the clinic.
Yep.
If you fall off the table, I believe that's the massage therapist has to have personal insurance for that.
Wow. Well, because they bring their own table. Like even like the people that do like my eyelashes and beauticians, they have their own table that they bring to to the salon usually, or wherever they're working from. But so it's your responsibility to have an operating table or a table that's not going to collapse. Crazy.
Yeah. So it's all the insurance is different. I don't know what the Uber thing is. So that's an interesting question. Seriously.
It's worth looking at.
Right.
For sure. All right, Sonny.
What other questions do you have before I hit the boogie here? Because I got to go make some videos today.
Yeah, we got a bunch of work to do too. I know. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have any other questions. I appreciate you, coming on and chatting with us today, and talking about what's coming up and all this fun stuff. It's very fascinating. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this again, by the way, for the audience. We did this already like 2 weeks ago, and I had lost the video. I don't know how it happened, but the video was gone. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see this because it's been like Mercury retrograde, and I know that's cliche, but I'm telling you, everything over here has been technology issues left and right.
It's all cool. I'm going to post, if you don't mind, I'll post this on the Sunny side as well.
Yes, no, please, that's perfect. Did you record it? Are you good?
I don't know if we're good or not, but I've been recording it.
Good.
So I don't know. It's been I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's saved. Maybe it didn't save.
No, that's very smart.
But it looks good. I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Whenever we get together and talk, we talk about so many other things. So
I know. We'll have to maybe we'll put it on the schedule every other month or something like that when we have time to get up and chat about all this craziness that's going on.
Well, I'll tell you something about what we're going to do here moving forward on the Sunny side.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, if I change the name of the channel to like the Sunny Side Astrology or the Sunny Side Tarot or something, it would gain a tremendous amount of traction. The YouTube algorithm would just dig into it, especially because of the background of like the amount of videos, the amount of content, and it'll just dig right and snowball. But that is gonna not allow a lot of other things to happen, and so I've resisted. I've definitely resisted that. Not the least of which is I have to change the logo again.
I know. It's a pain in the butt.
But we are doing more comedy. I am doing more comedy stuff on the channel right now.
Awesome.
There's a lot of adult comedy, and so I'm going through a phase.
That's good. That's good. Well, you're quite the comedian, so that's. I'm sure that's awesome. I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah, I want to have some fun. Like
exactly.
The whole thing has to be fun, and so I'm going through a phase with a whole bunch of adult comedy stuff. So we're doing that, and we're continuing on, obviously, with astrology and astrology education. That's a big part of the thing, the channel, and I'm going to be commenting on some of this other, some of the stuff that I see. It'd be nice to do reaction videos, but to be honest, I don't really sit through other people's videos too often.
Right.
Sit through the whole thing. And I don't really have time, right? Because I'm always making,
Yeah, you're always live. I know. I always get notifications. There's Sonny.
It's a lot. So, but we're gonna have some fun stuff.
Good.
And SLC was testing the green screen the other night.
Oh.
She pulled out her green screen and stuff, and so we might have some fun. And so that's what's going on.
That's
some more
great.
Fun stuff, and there are more videos where I comment and give my 2 cents on stuff, and also some spirituality and stuff. And I used to be a motivational speaker and a hypnotherapist, and I've done the whole blah blah blah. So,
if you want to get into conspiracy stuff, I have a friend who's a Scorpio, also Jennifer. She's a tarot reader here on YouTube as well. We talk frequently every day almost, and she's a good, she's really into this as well. I've been talking to her about possibly doing like a group chat about just stuff that's going on in the world, because it's just interesting. She's into because I was telling you about the true crime stuff that I like. She's into that as well, very much.
Cool.
Yeah, so we go back and forth a lot on cases. We actually ended up calling the police department the other night on one of the cases, and we were correct, believe it or not. So,
oh, cool! That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
It's crazy when you come together with people. Yeah, I know. It's the craziest thing, but yeah, it was on that missing kid in Ohio. And we started talking about this on Friday, and then by Saturday night, we had gotten into this theory, and we said, okay, what should we do? I mean, should we just keep this information, or should we publicize it, or should we, what should we do? And so we just said, well, what's the harm in calling the police department and saying what we think happened, and then letting them know. And so that's what we did. And then on Monday morning, I think it was, they found him. So.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out. They haven't announced what tipped them off yet, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. So, we'll see. And we weren't according to the cops, we weren't 100%, with every single detail that we gave, but we were correct in a big portion of the theory. So. I don't know what they're going to say about. They haven't called us back or anything, so I don't know if what they're going to say about how they determined where he was. But
that's exciting.
Crazy,
really
right?
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So exciting. Everybody has their own path in life.
Yeah.
So everybody watching the video, just follow your passions and just follow your passions. See where it goes.
Exactly.
If you have any questions along the way, always. Ask
Sonny
Tina,
for
ask
astrology.
myself.
Yeah, exactly. Reading. Yes, that's so important. All right, dear. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it. And have a great evening and a good rest of your week and weekend. And thanks for helping me work out all the technology stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm so
SLC.
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 Please, extend my gratitude to SLC for all of that help. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, T. Well, see you later.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.